Act like a man! What's the matter with you?
Want to have a meeting with me, right? It will be me.
The Godfather. 6 seconds. That's all it took. 6 seconds to transform Michael Corleone from a reluctant outsider to the new face of the family business. The Godfather isn't just a movie. It's a lifestyle, a religion, a masterclass in cinema, praised by directors like Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. But it almost never existed. The studios hated it. The cast was threatened by the Mafia, and Paramount Pictures did everything they could to sabotage the project. Yet, it became the greatest crime film of all time. But how? Let's find out. It's 1969. Mario Puzo's book The Godfather is a bestseller. Paramount buys the film rights for a mere $80,000, because let's be honest, who would be interested in a movie about a mafia family? Paramount wanted a cheap, straightforward crime flick, but then came Francis Ford Coppola, and he had other ideas. And that's where the trouble began. Paramount wanted a fast, low-budget production. Coppola wanted an epic 3-hour masterpiece about family, honor, and Italian identity. The result? Studio executives nearly fired him. Francis, this movie needs to be set in the 70s. Why is it so dark? Where's the action? What even is cinematic vision? And Coppola, he said, no, we do it my way, or I will leave. And because they couldn't afford to lose him, he stayed. But the studio kept making things difficult, especially when it came to casting. Today, we can't imagine The Godfather without Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, and James Caan. But the studio, they wanted Robert Redford as Michael Corleone. Not exactly the first person you'd think of when picturing a Sicilian mafia family, right? Coppola fought for Pacino, but the studio thought he was too small, too unknown, and too boring. It wasn't until they saw him act on set that they changed their minds.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
And then there was Marlon Brando. Brando was a living legend, but also a nightmare on set. He mumbled, he forgot his lines, and he had some issues with authority.
Barzini will move against you first. He'll set up a meeting with someone that you absolutely trust, guaranteeing your safety. And at that meeting, you'll be assassinated. Anyway, I'm thinking more.
Paramount was not happy. They saw Brando as too unreliable and difficult to work with. The studio demanded a screen test, something Brando would never agree to. But he did it anyway, on his own terms. Without warning, he stuffed his cheeks with cotton, slicked back his hair, and transformed into Don Corleone on the spot. Paramount was stunned. In that one moment, Brando became the Godfather, and just like that, he secured the role. On top of that, you've probably heard of the now famous line, "Leave the gun, take the cannoli."
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
It wasn't in the script. The line was improvised, showing how deeply the actors were immersed in their characters. And it gave us one of the most legendary quotes in film history. Here's where it gets even crazier. Do you remember the cat in the opening scene?
We've known each other many years, but this is the first time you ever came to the council for help.
Francis Ford Coppola spotted a stray cat wandering around the set. And without hesitation, he dropped it into Marlon Brando's lap. No warning, no script change, just boom. And Brando? He rolled with it, stroking the cat, staying in character, and unknowingly creating one of the most iconic openings in film history. Paramount finally gave in. The cast was brilliant. The film was shaping up to be something special. But now the real problems began. The actual Mafia was watching. Hollywood making a movie about the Mafia, and the Mafia was not happy. Before filming even began, Paramount started getting anonymous calls. Crew members noticed they were being followed, and production offices were mysteriously vandalized. Enter Joe Colombo, head of the Italian-American Civil Rights League. On paper, he was a community leader fighting against negative Italian stereotypes. In reality, He was one of the most powerful mob bosses in New York. Columbo hated The Godfather. He saw it as an insult to Italian Americans and wanted the movie shut down. And let's just say, he wasn't the kind of guy you ignored. Columbo's League launched a full campaign to kill the film, until producer Albert S. Ruddy did something crazy. He met with the mob boss face-to-face at the Park Sheraton Hotel in New York City. The deal? The word Mafia and Cosa Nostra could not be used anywhere in the script, not once. And then, the Mafia gave its blessing. Hollywood and the mob, hand in hand. A classic story.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
But let's get back to those 6 seconds. Michael Corleone was never supposed to be part of the family business, but then came the moment that changed everything. This wasn't just any moment. This was the moment that sealed his fate. He's not just grabbing a weapon, he's making a choice. Then, 6 seconds, 2 shots, and Michael Corleone is no longer just a son, he is the heir. Despite everything, the casting battles, the studio's doubts, and the Mafia trying to kill the film, The Godfather survived. But surviving wasn't enough. It had to be a masterpiece. And that's where the magic happened. It wasn't just about making a movie, it was about crafting a cinematic legend. And that meant every detail had to be perfect, from the way it sounded, to the way it looked, to the way it felt. What's a great film without a legendary soundtrack? The Godfather wouldn't be The Godfather without Nino Rota's haunting score. His love theme didn't just accompany the film, it became its heartbeat. A melody that whispered of love, power, and betrayal, lingering in the background and in our minds, even decades later. But shaping a masterpiece isn't just about what's filmed, it's about how it's stitched together. Enter Peter Zinner. With razor-sharp editing and brilliant sound design, he turned The Godfather into an experience. Every pause, every silence, every gunshot, meticulously placed to pull us deeper into the world of the Corleones. And then, there was the look of the film. Gordon Willis didn't just light The Godfather, he sculpted it. His bold use of chiaroscuro bathed characters in shadows, making their moral struggles visible. Light and darkness weren't just visuals, they were storytelling. Despite sabotage, studio interference, and a stressed-out director, The Godfather became a masterpiece. 3 Oscars. 50 years later, still the greatest crime film ever made.
Winner is Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola for The Godfather.
The Godfather was more than just a movie. It was a revolution. It changed how films were made. It changed how stories were told. And it proved that sometimes, the best films are the ones that almost never get made.